letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
All right, welcome back to the Patriot Hour Friday night, August 24th, 2018. I am Michael, your host. Again, if you're new to the channel, new to the Patriot Hour, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for giving us some time. It is so important. The Patriot Hour update, probably one of the most important updates of your life, our lives, our collective futures. All right, folks, we got Ben back with us. If you missed the first one, we went over a theory on, or something we came across, something that we thought we needed to share. It's kind of buzzing. It's going to be buzzing. It's a kind of an old post by an Anon from a few months back. But here we are, part 2 of this video, going over, where we're going to get into some executive orders here. Ben, glad to have you back.
Yes, sir. Gonna be back for part 2. This is this theory has just definitely been a hot one, and it's has a lot of parallels with the with what Q posts have been saying, and so this next part is gonna be good to actually get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the amendments and some of the executive orders coming out. So you know that this is not just you heard the theory side was QAnon, and then now let's get into the actual the law of it and what's happening in the amendments that's coming down from the president.
Yes, exactly. Some actual true fact that can be verified. Were these things done? All right, folks, we're going to jump into it here. We're going to stop by the queue. I did an update. We'll just do it in front of you here to make sure. Last post was 1931, and it's still 1931. All right, so we know a couple of the most important ones here. This was what, December 21st, 2017. All right. Executive order blocking the property or persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. If you take note up here at the very top, it is the whitehouse.gov official. And I'm going to show you this one here. The 2018 amendments to the manual for courts. Again, folks, that was what, March 1st of 2018. Okay, so March 1st, 2018, again, whitehouse.gov. Now we got this link here. It's going to take us away from that, but they basically go over what we just were showing you there. The reason for that is this goes into some other stuff we want to show you.
I think they give the actual court dissertation, which is down below, that has the actual seal on it. Yes.
Yeah, we can find all of this. It's just this is already collaged.
Yeah, we like how this front end, we like how this particular website put these all together, because they're showing you like we just did. They got it from the White House presidential. They got it from the same source that we did. They put it together. We like it, and we want you guys to come check this out. And so I think that's why we're going to go over this one for sure.
All right, we're going to go over these, and this will give you a little bit more insight into what we just kind of went over in the last video, I think. That's what we're planning on happening.
The executive orders. Hey, it's all good. And these are the amendments. So this is not a whole brand new executive order out of nowhere. These are amendments to an existing manual for the court marshals, or for the courts martial of the United States.
All right, so this came out on March 3rd, to take note of. March 3rd of 2018, just 2 days after the one executive order came out for military tribunals amendments. Other than that, the executive order for child human trafficking came out back in December. So this article's from March. I'll kick it off here. Military tribunals. While everyone was once distracted and not paying attention, our president was finishing up a few more things in preparation for what is to come. The Ides of March are upon us. John Miranda. All right, so 2018 amendments to the Manual for Court Martial of the United States. Now, we had a video a few days ago where we kind of went over this, but we wanted to pay attention to a few areas down below. But this starts out very similar. By the power vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including Chapter 47 of Title 10, United States Code of Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ, 10 U.S.C. 801 through 946. And in order to prescribe amendments to the Marshal for Courts Martial, United States, prescribed by Executive Order 12473 of April 13th, 1984, as amended, it hereby ordered as follows. All right, then we got the sections, Part 2, 3, 5, and the manual for the Courts Martial. United States are as amended as described in the Annex 1. Now, let's go ahead and read this section 2 here, this whole thing.
Yeah, because basically the first part of this section, the section 2, where it says up there, it says nothing in the Annex 1 shall be constructed. If this whole first part of this whole section 2 is going over what the Annex is, and it's kind of a little bit, it's such as a non-judicial punishment proceeding, restraint investigation. This is a lot of very, very big, thick wording. If we can kind of scroll down to section 3, that's kind of going to get in the meat of, now this is an existing executive order, right? That came out in April 13th, 1984.
84.
So this is these amendments. This is going to tell you when these amendments are going to come into effect, and when can we see these amendments in hardcore law, right? So there you go. January 1st of 2019 is when these amendments on the executive order that was created April 13th, 1984 will come into effect. Now we can look at some of these sub-paragraphs in Section 3, like B, nothing in the MJA shall be construed to make punishable by any act done or admitted prior to January 1st, 2019, that was not punishable when done or omitted. But it's interesting because you can go down a little bit further, to the D one there.
Nothing
and this
in
is
the
going
MGA
over to
shall be. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, well, just as looking at a lot of this is done that nothing. This talks about if anything is done prior to January 1st, 2019. So they do cover both of the when it goes into effect.
Yeah. Yep. So they say nothing in the MGA shall be construed to invalidate any non-judicial punishment proceeding, restraint, investigation, referral of charges, trial in which arraignment occurred, or other action begun prior to January 1st of 19. Except as otherwise provided in this order, the MGA shall not apply in any case in which charges are referred to trial by court-martial before January 1st of 19. Except as otherwise provided in this order, proceedings in such case shall be held in the same manner with the same effect as the MGA had not been enacted.
So it's interesting that what's happening there is they're giving a little bit more of a wider scope to what this 1984 can do. I think it was Section 6.
Yeah, we were going over this. So what was it?
Yes, because this is a real huge amendment. It's a huge document, and we definitely encourage you guys to get up on there, read this for yourself. We're merely pointing out, we're highlighting the sections within this amendment that bolsters or that would go parallel from what our earlier show, this theory. We're really trying to see if this theory has traction and meat, and I believe it was I think it was convening authority, proceeding, revision, or rehearing. I believe it was in Section 6. There you go. B, I think it's like all the subpoints under B, requires action by convening authority on a sentence. Now this is going, if the accused is found guilty, so let's read it from the very beginning.
Specification alleging the commission of one or more offenses before January 1st of 19, Article 60 of the UCMJ, as an effect on the date of the earliest offense on which the accused was found guilty, shall apply to the convening authority, in addition to suspending authority in Article 60 as enacted by the MGA to the extent that Article 60.
So if these people in the beginning in 2017, according to what we just read on the first part of this show, were military tribunal, but boom, they got it. Here's the actors. You either give them the death penalty or life in jail. So now, if that's the case, now according to Section B, first bolt requires action by a convening authority on a sentence. We have a military tribunal. Permits action to be conveying authority on findings. So if they found them guilty, boom, they can do that. Now they're actors. Number 3, authorizes the conveying authority to modify the findings in a sentence of a court martial, dismiss any charges or specification by setting aside a finding of guilty thereto, check it out, or charge a finding of guilty to charge a specification in a finding of guilty to an offense that is lesser, including offense of the offense stated in the charge or specification. There's your whole, we're going to give you have the death penalty, but if you flip and you do the right thing, you can have life in jail. And this is what they all under the Article 60 of the UCMJ. Number 4, authorizes the conveying authority, and this could be the convening, this could be the military tribunals, right?
Yes.
To order a proceeding in revision or rehearing, or authorizing the convening authority to approve, disapprove, commute, which means, well, let's push it out for a little while, or suspend a sentence in whole or in part.
Now that's interesting because authorizes a convening authority to approve, disapprove, commute, or suspend a sentence in whole or part. So we heard that some, depending on the level of their involvement, right? We were hearing. So a lot relies on that, folks. We don't know the full picture or the full extent. A lot of these people had just been in the probably early stages of being blackmailed. Like we've heard possibly like Trey Gowdy. He had blackmail on him. They got to him. He did a few bad things. That day where they were all chanting Trump underneath the Liberty, I think it was in New York or somewhere, and Trey Gowdy was there or out in D.C. I can't remember, but they were, Trump, Trump, Trump. And Trump had set them free. Some of them had already understood. So even good people, they'll make mistakes, and it can't, it can be forgiven but not forgotten, and they'll have to move on. That's what we're hearing, right? So this is interesting. Section 7. These are a lot of the amendments. I don't know if there's any more meat to that, but we're going to get down here to Donald J. Trump, the White House Joint Service Committee.
Actually, if you can go just a little bit above that. And there's section 12 right there, just section 12. We can just, it says something was really cool. It talks about the official guidance of the Attorney General. So if you can just read that section 12 real quick before we go into that, it has a lot of really crazy stuff in it.
All right, here we go. Section 12, in accordance with Article 33 of the UCMJ, as amended by Section 5204 of the MJA, the Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security, will issue non-binding guidance regarding factors that commanders, convening authorities, staff judge advocates, and judge advocates should take into account when exercising their duties with respect to the disposition of charges and specifications in interest of justice and discipline under Article 30 and 34 of the UCMJ. That guidance will take into account with appropriate consideration of military requirements, the principles contained in the official guidance of the Attorney General to attorneys for the federal government with respect to disposition of federal criminal cases in accordance with the principle of fair and even-handed administration of federal criminal law.
So that goes into not only the UCMJ or military tribunals, but it also goes into the federal law, because federal law is different than UCMJ. But we're showing how that they're going to be working together on this one, which is amazing.
Yeah. So we get into Executive Order 1313823 of January 30th of 2018, protecting America through lawful detention of terrorists.
Exactly. Now, I think
In
at the very
addition,
top,
the
though,
United
go
States
ahead.
may transport additional detainees to U.S. Naval Station Guantanamo Bay when lawful and necessary to protect the nation. Jeez.
So if you go up in there in the very top part of that, and I think it's section C is where it kind of goes into the detention operations at the U.S. Naval Station Guantanamo Bay are legal, safe, humane, and conduct consent with United States international law. D. Those operators are continuing given that a number of
Hey.
remaining. What's this one?
Real quick, we know the NDAA, like they're allowed, if you're deemed a terrorist, that they're allowed to even U.S. citizens. Remember that?
Yeah,
it was real scary for
without
us.
trial. Yes.
If they set us all up like that, then that goes for them as well. It's not just for us.
Yes, it's them as well. If they're deemed terrorists and they fall under the Patriot Act, the NDAA, all these things, and I believe in some of the maybe one of the other shows that either you did or we did, they're remodeling. Oh, they did remodel Gitmo.
Yeah, they remodel. We had pictures.
They're
and
ready to go for. Yeah, they're ready to go.
Real nice for them. That's going to be the only place they will be safe for them, honestly. But that's how they work, folks. Everything that is being used right now was created by these people, and they are using it right back at them. They never thought that would happen. That's where they messed up.
Oh, big time. Oh,
all right,
big
go ahead
time.
and continue off now. I didn't mean to. It just struck me.
No, that's good. That's what it needs, because you get down in there, the very last section right before Trump signs it, which is the little section 4, and it's the last paragraph C. It's really crazy, and it's just I would think this is so eloquent. It says this order does not intend to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural enforcement at law or equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. So it pretty much covers anybody within the United States. These people are basically hurting.
Ooh.
Like this, hey.
Let me read real quick here. This section 3, pursuant to the authorization for use of military force to determine whether continued law of war detention is necessary to protect against a significant threat to the security of the United States. So section 3, rules of construction. A, nothing in this order shall prevent the Secretary of Defense from transferring any individual away from the U.S. Naval Station Guantanamo Bay when appropriate, including to effectuate an order affecting the disposition of that individual issued by a court competent tribunal of the United States having lawful jurisdiction.
Lawful jurisdiction. That's where we know that Q was telling us that the military, and even Trump was even telling us that the military is operating at a higher level. They now have a little bit of jurisdiction. They didn't used to have jurisdiction. We have these amendments coming out allowing them to not, I mean, we saw it, seizing property. We're talking going into stuff that
well, it says
military,
here in B, read B.
Nothing in this order shall be construed to affect existing law or authorities relating to the detention of United States citizens, lawful permanent residents of the United States, or any persons who are captured or arrested in the United States. So you can't, well, they're saying nothing in this order should be construed. Well, he's not a citizen, he's a undocumented worker, or he's this, he's arrested, he's a felon, or he's this and that. No, it says very clear, nothing in this order shall be construed to affect any existing law or authorities, existing law, boom, existing law or the authorities of the United States citizens. So this is pretty crazy. Any persons who are captured or arrested. So any persons who are captured, that means you don't have to be a citizen. If you're captured and you're on the soil, well, you got some issues there, because remember, You cross the country and you're not supposed to be here. The first
That's
step you
right.
take and everyone thereafter is a illegal action.
All right.
So this is
the
getting some
executive
meat
order,
here. Go ahead.
The executive order over serious human rights abuse, which gets into
Or
I believe,
corruption.
trafficking, and all that, right? I mean that goes into human rights abuse, which is it's definitely selling somebody against their own will and putting people in, that's human rights
Well,
abuse.
if you can sum this whole thing up, what you're going over right now is basically this: the United States seeks to impose tangible and significant consequences on those who commit serious human rights abuse or engage in corruption, as well as to protect the financial system of the United States from abuse by these same persons. So that's commit a serious human rights abuse. That's human trafficking. This is the sexual abuse they're doing, the ritual killings they're doing, these sacrifices. This goes into that kind of stuff. And I mean, this is also around the world. This is not just determined that the serious human rights abuse and corruption around the world constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security. So the president already determined that this human rights constitutes national security. Therefore, they have the right to go around the world and seek these people who are doing this if they were originally here in the United States, because it's a threat of national security.
If we're allowed to go around the world and help and fight in wars and get involved, we could definitely get involved in well, this isn't war. Yeah, it is war because he deemed it to be one. That's
yes,
the
it is.
difference.
People don't understand when a president says we have a war on terrorism, or there's a war on drugs, or there's a war on this.
That gives heightened effect, elevated resources, right?
Elevated authority, because if you declare a war on something, you have departments that did not have authority. We're now under time of declaration of war. And here's the idea. Here's the thing. Terrorism is an idea. It's not a tangible thing. And that's where this whole war on terror, this was another one of their mind games they were trying to flush down our throats. And so when we're getting into this, when we're getting into this theory that we were talking about, which is an amazing parallel with what Q was talking about, looking at these executive orders, we're seeing that not only the old ones we went over, the amendments we went over last time, dealing with property and interests of people, and we're talking persons and transferred withdrawals, everything from other countries. We're seizing property. Look at Epstein's Island. We're getting pictures of the temple, and they seize a whole. That Section 8 is also pretty crazy because it talks about the Secretary of Treasury. That goes into the money, people. This is where the Secretary of Treasury may constitute with applicable law to redelegate any of these functions to other officers and agencies of the United States. So you're talking, if there's any money involved, the Treasury can say, no, military intelligence, you handle this one, because they're an apparatus of the government, or of the federal federal government.
The federal government. Here we go. There's just a picture of Trump signing it. Original Annex 1 document. So Section 1, Part 2 of the Manual for Courts Martials, United States is amended as follows. So it's read B. Give a less favorable rating of evaluation of any defense counsel or special victims counsel because of the zeal with which such counsel represented any client, and used in this rule, special victims counsel are judge advocates and civilian counsel who, in accordance with 10 U.S.C. 1044E, are designed as special victims counsel. Protective and modifying orders. What is this? Upon a significant showing, the military judge may at any time order that the discovery of an inspection to be denied, restricted, or deferred, or make such other order as appropriate. If any rule requires, upon motion by a party, the military judge may review any materials in camera and permit the party to take such showing in whole or part.
Ooh, and camera, don't they have video of a lot of this kind of stuff? Right, this little up there, right above that, right there in between, it says to continue reading Acts 1 right here. That's really cool. Check us out. It sounds like they're getting all their ducks in a row to prepare for military courts to deal with the deep state operators. Treason is still punishable by death, hanging or firing squad under military tribunal. A whole different set of rules than U.S. civil courts. I think that's what we've been trying to kind of get across this whole entire second part of this show.
Right there, civilians can be arrested by the military and tried by the military tribunal during martial law. So this, we were reading this earlier. It's a pretty good little story, but it kind of give them a gifs of it. Like this guy was saying, the general public knows that active duty G.I. Joe can be tried by the military court martial, but
and this article, well, this article came out in 1956 that you're showing right there. When is a serviceman, by Robinson O. Everett, and he still calls a soldier the old GI. But if you go a little bit below that, it says persons tried by court martial. And they kind of goes over
different groups.
Again,
right?
This is the 1954.
A draftee. It does get into it because we know that.
Well, check us out.
John Wilkes Booth.
Ooh, here we go. Yes, it says it right there, brother. Check it out. Let me read it real quick. It says a draftee, therefore, who failed to take an oath would generally fall outside military jurisdiction, and failure or refusal to obey the draft board notice to report for induction could not be made on the basis for trial by court-martial, although it could be prosecuted in a federal civilian court. So what he did in the military could be processed in a civilian court. I wonder if that's vice versa.
Martial law. To continue reading, persons who can be tried go to 5. There's some pins, maybe that were that he hands out after. So section 5, any person that is subject to this chapter who intent or reason to believe is used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of a foreign nation communicates, delivers, or transmits, or attempts to communicate, deliver, or transmit to any entity described in paragraph 2, either directly or indirectly, anything described in paragraph 3, shall be punished as a court-martial may direct, except that if his accused is found guilty of an offense that directly concerns. So A is a nuclear weapon, military spacecraft, satellites, early warning systems, or other means of defense or retaliation against large-scale attack. B, war plans. We're building. We're planning war. If you're planning war, you're gonna. C, communication intelligence of or cryptographic information. D, any other major weapon systems or major element of defense strategy. The accused shall be punished by death or such punishment as a court-martial may direct. This is covering a lot. Yeah, this is covering some of the deals that happened. Planning
now,
wars.
If you don't think that falls in that, check us out. Section 2 on the if you want to go back and show them that, so we're not just reading that, because the Section 2 refers to an entity. Now, this is if they are, quote, a foreign government, a faction or party, or military or naval force within a foreign country, whether recognized or unrecognized by the United States, or our representative, officer, agent, employee, subject, or citizen of such government, faction, party, or force. So that right there covers anybody who is like, oh, well, I didn't know. This is all the non-military people. This is not Clinton, who's still in the office. These are all the pedophiles. These are the people who are the faction, officers, agent, employee. I love it because, in the B it says no person may be sentenced by court-martial to suffer death for an offense under this section article unless it goes into determine. It goes over this crazy stuff like evidence introduced and issued of guilt or innocence. You know, it goes in the accused shall be given broad latitude to present matters in extension. So it's giving these people plenty of time to plead their case.
What
But
about
in
this
the elements there,
Yeah, elements.
the elements is where it's all SP talking about. This right here is going to get these people, and this is just one of how many sections that they have to get these
Attempted
people.
espionage.
So, oh Mike, not even, you don't even have to
That's
do
that
it.
whole. I only tried to. I never did it. It's like
I almost got away with it.
yeah. All right, here we'll wrap this article
yeah.
up here. Let me see here. So we got espionage, attempted. They can get them elements of it. So you got espionage, attempted espionage, espionage at a capital offense, explanation, intent or reason to believe that the information is used to injure the United States or advantage of a foreign nation, national defense info, espionage at a capital offense. Lesser included offenses, maximum punishment, espionage at capital offense, death, or such punishment as court-martial may direct. So then you got spies. Goes into spies.
Yeah, this is, how about the text of statute? Any person in time of war is found lurking as a spy or acting as a spy in or about any place, vessel, aircraft. Yeah, and it goes over the Q post as well. So we know that there's these people, they have nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide, because they're either the text of the statute they're going to hit, the elements of the statute they're going to be getting hit by it, the explanation of the statute. These guys are getting hit all different ways, and there's nowhere from the run. You know, that's crazy. The whole suicide weekend, by the way, as well. That one kind of gets into when Q is dropping, you know.
Damn, in a nutshell, if you were part of the deep state, aka the Illuminati, aka the cabal, aka part of the swamp, you are done. You have two options: you commit suicide or death in Gitmo. Choose now or don't. That was the closing statement on that article. But now we know there's some of them that are bad actors exposing the rest. Not only are they done, they have to expose their own crimes to help take down their whatever they're part of, you know, whatever little institutions and little facets. Oh, we don't go to those parties. We do this because we know not. You know, it's just like a legion. You have a lot of people that are members of a legion, but not all of them thrive to be part of the commander, first vice, or your, judge advocate. They don't really want to run the establishment. They want to come there and just enjoy it. But it's, that's the same with this system here. Like in Hollywood, not everyone is a level 50 Satanist. They're only a level 2 or 3. And they don't get the bigger roles. They don't get the bigger paychecks. They don't get as propped up by Hollywood like maybe Tom H or something, and he does a movie or two every other year because he gets $50 million and 10% in royalty fees and after sales and digital rights or something, and these other ones struggle because they have dabbled and done enough things to get in, but they
haven't done the rituals and sacrifices to get to that 20 or 50 million level. And there's a reason why these people, we call them A-listers, if you will, in Hollywood or in the music industry. You think to yourself, they don't have talent. You look at actors in the early 20s and 30s, they could sing, dance, and do all this. They were truly talented. You look at musicians like way back in the day who actually could sing and write. You don't have to have talent now. They just want your soul. And that's exactly right. These people are still going. And you could see these people who are still up on stage, still touring. Like, why are you still doing what you're doing? Well, they made an oath. They sold their soul, and they're keeping their end of the bargain by still being there and still projecting and propagating this propaganda. And it's coming down, and we just read today, this isn't what we think. And I know some of what we read today is kind of dry and it gets a little bit conjumbled, but I mean, Mike and I say this all the time, man. In this instance, hey, don't believe us, do your own research, but you don't have to believe us if you just agree with the White House and these amendments that we're literally pulling off the screen for you. It's pretty straightforward to see that the military tribunals and the UCMJ can now operate because these people are all federal employees for the most part, excluding the CEOs and the music industry and these people. But they're at elevated levels now, which is very interesting. And reading the amendments tonight, with stuff that's been already done since 1984 and all the other ones, this theory is looking more and more like it could have a lot of traction. It's anybody in America accused of doing things at such a grand level that this is national interest, and human trafficking is now a matter of national security.
Yes, it is. Let's give some more closing thoughts on the first video we did and this one. Maybe a nice closing statement. We're at the 36-minute mark, but this has been great. And
I would probably say that if the military tribunals already happened in 2017 and we are watching a movie, then it makes a lot of sense of what Q is saying about the popcorn. Enjoy the show. He said, what makes a good movie? Good actors. And early on it said you only really need about 50 people, and this is a possibility. We know about compartmentalization and how that works, and how 90% of the people that are in the information world when it comes to mass media are reading from a teleprompter. They're not reading from what they feel inside. So this could happen. This could happen, and this has maybe already happened. So this is a very interesting twist, if you will, or a way of thinking that I definitely want to be doing a lot more research in. I just think, you know what? I love reading the amendments. I love reading these new executive orders because there's no doubt on what's happening. The UCMJ is definitely have got some amendments to it, so they kind of have a broader scale. And I'm really excited to see this coming down because it's coming down like a hammer and quickly. And November's coming real soon, and we're going to be seeing this. This is kicking off a lot faster now.
All right, that was Ben. We really appreciate you having been on tonight, and all his support here at the Patriot Hour. Been a big part of it since the beginning, and he's right. I don't have much more to add to that. That was a good closing statement there, folks. With what we went over here tonight, and with a couple of the executive orders that Trump's put into place, put into true, you can verify it and see it action. Why would somebody dial in and even be worried to put an executive order in over something like that just to have it in play if you don't already have a big idea of what you're doing? Most executive orders are done because a president's trying to get something done and he can't, so he just does it, and then they have an executive order in. This here, dead media silence about it as well, across the board, basically. Where normally news will jump all over a president for using an executive order for a out of his power type situation. He's just doing things that he wants to get done, and it's to better himself. Look at these executive orders and tell me how it would benefit him other than making a better world for him and his children and his wife and family and friends and the country, because he's the president. So it's not a selfish act to put in. Quit human rights abusing people. Quit being a treasonous person to your country. If you took the oath and you're anywhere in the federal government, you took an oath to this country and to the American people, not to anything else. Not to anything else other than that. So we're going to shut her down here. We're going on the 40. We are at the 40-minute mark. I'm Mike. Thanks for stopping by. Again, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe. Take a look in the comment section. Also, leave a comment. Take a look in the description box. And maybe ring the bell. Toggle the switch to alert your device in the best possible manner. All right. We'll be back here all weekend with more videos. We're going to be delving into this one probably for the next couple days because it's so interesting and needs to be looked at many different angles. So please tune back in and look forward to some more videos tomorrow. I'm Mike, Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed each and every one of you, and have a great night. Good evening.
You know what letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
Froggy.